Stop in the Name of Love. I mean, everybody understood that, and these songs were universal. And, I was just happy to have these influences, and there were black women. Wow, that's the first black women I've seen doing famous, wonderful things.
One thing also you told me, and I think just actually I think it occupies you until today because your latest song is about it. And I wanted to come up with the question: how was it as a girl growing up in Canada as the only black suddenly to hit the southern states, the Jim Crow? How did you?
God. Well, yeah, before Canada, I used to go visit my grandmother who lived in North Carolina. I was about 9 years old, and it was pretty rough because segregation was still legal. So they had different water fountains for black, for white, different bathrooms for white women, white men, black men. It was insane. Everything was doubled. It must have cost them a fortune to do that, The water fountains, the toilets, the restaurants, the theaters. You had, all the black people had to take the fire escape to the balcony. You couldn't go in the front door of the theater. You had to go up the fire escape, which is in the back, to enter into the balcony because all the black people sat in the balcony. So I had this experience when the kids came and took me to the movies, and I was from New York, so I didn't know about segregation, and there was a long line and a short line, and I got on the short line, and they got on the long line, and they're laughing at me. They're just they just thought it was funny, and I couldn't figure out what they were laughing at. And finally I get up to the window, and the woman said, "Can't you read, little girl?" And I looked up and it said, "White only." And I thought, oh God. And I just realized that everyone on my line was white, and they were all, but I was colorblind. I didn't see that. I didn't see it at all. And then I felt horrible. I was like humiliated and shamed, and I felt ridiculous and unworthy. I mean, it's one thing when people hate you, but when the state tells you you're not worthy to sit next to this white person, that's a whole nother level of discomfort, if you know what I mean. It's a state-endorsed prejudice. Horrible feeling. People to this day do not understand how bad that was, People don't even understand that slavery, which is where all this stemmed from, went on for 250 years in this country. 250 years of slavery. That's a long time. Long time. So all these generations grew up feeling like this big, And then all of a sudden, you're free. Now what? It was a very interesting transition to make for a generation of people. So I wrote a song about this. Because once I discovered that even to this day, it still hurt me, that incident, I realized this is something I need to write about and let people know how bad it is and how bad it was to feel that way and to be treated like that. And we need to hear that today because there's a lot of crazy going on right now with race in this country, and it needs to be addressed.
Let's go on this point. Now we're talking about Jim Crow times,
yes.
segregational times. Today, America has a black president, and you come up with such a song. Why is the topic relevant still?
Well, because what we have discovered is since President Obama was elected, all of this racism starts coming out of the cracks and crevices, seeping out into the media, and it's shocking. And now every Tom, Dick, and Harry can state their opinion through the computer, whether it's true or not true. They can say all these horrible things about our president or about anyone, really. And every time they insulted him, it was like they were insulting the entire race of people, oh, he's this or that. And it really pushed the whole problem to the forefront. It's like once he was elected, people had to really face how they felt inside about that, you know. A lot of people were for him, obviously, because he got elected. But a lot of people were not so for him, you know. And we can't let prejudice seep back into society like that. We have to fight it. We have to bring it out in the open and air it for people to see it and see it in themselves, ourselves.
One question: do you feel like in a way blessed to have been grown up without with color blindness and
Yes.
not and does it affect your way and your view?
Hugely, hugely. I mean, even as a child, I was always picked on in Brooklyn by kids. Black kids picked on me because I was skinny, I had short hair, and I was dark. These were not good things. And I was smart. Not a good combination if you want to get home without being beat, have the crap beat out of you. And then the white kids hated me just because I was black, so I would get beat up from them. But I never could understand that.